Dear family, friends, Jewish community here locally and around the world. 30 days ago, the Jewish community around the world lost a giant of a rabbi, Rabbi Moshe Kotlarsky. We're just now celebrating his Shloshim, 30 days of his passing. Rabbi Kotlarsky was very, very involved in the establishing of Chabad houses all over the world, getting them going, supporting them as they're going along, and more importantly, he was there. If there was ever a need, you had a number to call, and he would talk to you like a human being that was there for you, listening to you, and he was there ready and actually helped. So I want to share with you, we know the Rebbe, after he lost his Rebbetzin, the Rebbe would teach us the powerful teaching from King Solomon, where it says, "V'hachai yitena liboy," that it's better to go to a house of mourning than to a house of rejoicing, because at a house of mourning, the living gives the heart, you learn powerful lessons about life. So I'd like to share with you one story. I have many stories, but for today we're going to share one story about Rabbi Kotlarsky, and that is around 2 years ago when we had the powerful hurricane that came and devastated and destroyed this area, and a lot of it has still not been rebuilt. We were without water, we were without electricity, without food, and many, many people came to our help in many, many ways. But I'll never forget, this was several days into the hurricane, we hadn't had running water, we hadn't had electricity, and Rabbi Kotlarsky called me. And when you got a call for Rabbi Kotlarsky, wow, it's a big honor. And he asked me, what's going on? How's everything? And I told him more or less what's happening here. And my mind, like Rabbi Kotlarsky, you don't want to take away his time. Every minute is so powerful. And I said, Rabbi Kotlarsky, I know you're busy with so many things. I'll give you the short version. No, I want to know the details. As a matter of fact, I was doing then YouTube clips. I was sharing what was going on here. So I watched them, and he knew what was going on. He asked me every single detail of what was going on. And I said to Rabbi Kotlarsky, okay, I think I took up too much of your time. He says, no, I want to hear. And he literally was interested in everything that was going on there. And then when he finished the call, he said to me, you know what, I'm going to help you. I'm going to send you some money. And sure enough, within 24 hours, his brother that helps him, Mendel, wired in the money, and then he helped us further. He was there, someone, not only in his financial support, but more importantly, he took out his time, and he called, and he cared, and he wanted to hear what was going on, and he made you feel like he was with you in the good times, great, but more importantly, in the trials and tribulations. So what was interesting is I happened to be in New York for his funeral, and I'll never forget, I walked out of my house, and I was going to 770 towards where the funeral was going to be, and I met a Jew coming out of another synagogue, and we were going to the funeral. I was telling him how powerful Rabbi Kotlarsky was. He cared about people, and this person's not a shliach. I'll tell you a story. This morning I went to shul, and I have a chavrusa, someone I learned Torah with, and we were talking to Rabbi Kotlarsky, and I was telling him that my son, and he said, I'm not a shliach, my son's not a shliach. He had a birthday, and it was going to be in a fancy restaurant in Manhattan, Upper Manhattan, and we invited Rabbi Kotlarsky. We didn't think he was going to come. He's such a busy person, and guess what? He showed up. My son was so touched. So this chavrusa, his study partner, says, guess what? I'm also not a shliach. I made a wedding in Israel, far away from the airport, and I told Rabbi Kotlarsky, if you're in Israel, please come join us at the wedding. I never thought he would come. First of all, who said he'll be in Israel? And if he was, it's far from the airport, from the main area. And guess what? He showed up to the wedding. I think one of the things you learned from Rabbi Kotlarsky was he was always there. He showed up. In great times, that's easy. Everyone shows up. But in difficult times, in hard times, he made the effort to always be there and always show up. So we all know what the Rebbe says, "V'hachai yitena liboy." The living gives to the heart. And the living gives to the heart is to learn from lessons, from what the person lived for, and then to be inspired to follow in their footsteps. So one of the most powerful, inspiring things of Rabbi Kotlarsky was I always wondered where he had the time and where he had the energy for this tremendous dedication. It wasn't a job, it was a life commitment to people and to Judaism. Where did it come from? So we all know when he passed away, they put up a matzeva, they put up a tombstone. And when on the matzeva, usually people write all these long, different accomplishments. And by him, it was almost like a blank matzeva with very, very few words. But in here lies who he was. And it says over there as follows. Sha'af kol yamav, his desire was his whole life was one thing, to cause the Rebbe to be happy. And he always wanted one thing, as it says on the matzeva, to let the Rebbe know good news and to add good news. So in other words, he was focused. His dream and his mission and his vision of life was, how can I make the Rebbe happy and how can I let him know good news? Here's something we can take of Rabbi Kotlarsky. Let's think, before we do something, before we say something, is this going to make the Rebbe happy? Is this going to make Hashem happy? And is this something we can share good news? So I want to finish off in the powerful talk of the Rebbe. For the Rebbe, after she passed away at the Shloshim, at the 30 days, Rebbe said that "V'achai yitnei liboy." What does it mean, living gift the heart? One is that we have to constantly learn Torah, advance in doing mitzvot, and more mitzvot in memory of the person that passed away, which is a great thing we can do in the memory of Rabbi Kotlarsky. But more important, the Rebbe says, "V'oid v'hu ikar." The main thing is to realize that anything negative, and the most negative thing could be someone passed away, we miss him. Anything negative is only temporarily, because death, the Rebbe says, is only temporarily. Because like it says clearly in the prophets, Ubila Hamavis La Netzach, God is going to take away the death from this world. And Umacha Hashem Dion al Kapanu, there's not going to be any sadness, but more importantly, the Rebbe says, the prophet says, Vehikitsu Verananu Shoichnei Afar, that the dead is going to wake up. But the Rebbe points out an important word, Verananu. When they wake up, they're going to wake up with simcha, with joy. So therefore, anything we're going through, yeah, sometimes it's difficult, but it's only temporary. The reality is, just like the dead is going to get resurrected, and it's going to be with joy, any obstacle we're going through, it's only temporary, and we should experience great joy and happiness. I want to wish the family, they should be comforted by the powerful life that their father lived, husband, uncle, whatever he was to you, to the Jewish community, a friend, and let's hope and pray we'll have soon the resurrection of the dead, we'll be reunited, Rabbi Moshe Kotlarsky, and we'll all merit to be v'hekitzu v'ranu shoichnei afar. We'll have the greatest simcha, like the Rebbe uses the verse from the prophets, the simchas oilam al roisham, the greatest and most powerful simcha, the most greatest and powerful joy.